Hey, welcome back to the Black and Gold Standard Podcast. And today we want to get into the ops of the Cleveland Browns. Big game for the Steelers. Big rivalry game. The rivalry and kind of died out a little bit just because of the Browns are not haven't been a good team in a few years at least. But this is a big game for both teams. At this point, the Browns season is over with, but I know those guys are rallying around Miles Garrett for him to break the sack record. The Steelers, maybe they need to win this game to clinch clinch the playoff spot and also clinch the AFC North. But it may be a possibility where the Steelers were already in clinch the division. So just a lot of things going on with this game. Me personally, I want to see the guys play. I want to see them play this game. I mean, you can't play scared. Now you got to play smart, but you can't play scared. You got to play your guys, because I really don't want to see them take 2 weeks off. Then it's 2 weeks, but it's almost like 3 weeks. So I don't want that to happen. So I want the Steelers guys to play, and especially now, we got some injuries that they got to deal with, got a suspension, got to deal with DK Metcalf. So that's a situation. So actually, the Steelers are going to have some new receivers in there that going to have to play a lot. So, like I say, it's still an important game to me that I think the guys should really play. But you got to be smart. Depending on which way this game turns, good or bad. Once the game is decided, then it's probably time to start, getting guys out of there. But until that happens, I would want them to play. And if I'm Mike Tomlin, that'll be one of the motivating factors that I would tell the guys, like, hey, y'all come out here, y'all take care of business, I get you out the game. But if not, you're gonna play. So that's a thing that I'm quite sure Mike Tomlin already has in the back of his mind. And he'll get that going. So for right now, let's get into these ops. Let's get into the Cleveland Browns. Let's see what they got going on and kind of talk about some of their players. So right off the rip, this was actually a very good draft for the Browns, I must say. I got to give credit where credit is due, and they did a good job. They did a very good job drafting. They got some good kids, some good rookies in there. So we got to find it. Let's see what's going on here. All right, there we go. All right, so starting off with the quarterback. Shedeur Sanders. Haven't really proved yet that he's the guy. They had that situation with the other rookie quarterback they had in there. And so Sanders has kind of taken over. As you see his numbers, 92, 167 for 55.1%. So he got to definitely get better at with his completion percentage. That's not really going to work in the NFL. 1,103 yards, 6 touchdowns, 8 picks, 67.5 rating. But he has opened up the offense a little more than what they was getting with with what's the kid's name? The Dillon kid from Oregon. So Sanders had definitely opened up the offense more. And, at this point, the Browns are giving him the last few games to come out here and prove himself. I think the Steelers should be able to confuse him and probably get some easy picks off of him. But he's shown that let's say he has the tools. He's shown the Browns that he actually has the tools to be an NFL quarterback. It's just a matter of just getting better. Learning to read the defenses a little better. He still kind of hold on to the ball a little bit, and he still try to do that I call it the death spin because I'm used to it because Kenny Pickett used to do that. Where you think he can spin out of stuff, and usually when you try to get the spinning back there, you're just gonna spin into something. So he has to kind of get that out of his game. But I think for the most part, I mean he's doing okay. I mean the Browns really don't have any big time weapons for him. Well, I'll take that back. I mean receiver weapons to get the ball to. He has some good tight ends in which he has been taking advantage of that. Major blow for them. They lost their top rusher. So in Jenkins, so it's just been a learning curve for him right now. But again, like I say, I think this is a guy the Steelers should be able to get some sacks off of him. Definitely should be able to confuse him. And I look forward to really be a rough day for Mr. Sanders. Tied in Harold Fannin Jr. This is a kid that he's produced big time for the Browns. I mean, he's probably going to end up being a starting tied in moving forward. Putting up big numbers. 70 receptions, 701 yards, 10.0 average, and 5 touchdowns. So again, like I said, the Browns, I will have to admit, and hey, I give people credit when they deserve it. They really hit with this draft. Well, in certain positions, they didn't do too much on their offensive line and in a receiving room, but they hit with a lot of players in this draft. So kudos to them. Harold Fannin is really producing. Local kid, played at Canton McKinley right down the road from Cleveland in Canton, Ohio. Played at Bowling Green. So, he's an Ohio all the way kid. And he's putting up big numbers, and he's going to be a guy that honestly the Steelers got to pay attention to because he's not like our tight ends. This guy's a playmaker. I mean, he's a playmaker, and him and Sanders have a great connection with each other because they probably practice with each other a lot, and he looks for him. He looks for him, especially in the red zone. So this is gonna be a guy that the Steelers really gonna have to keep their eye on. If not, he'll catch 5 or 6 balls on you for 90-some yards, and we'll get in the end zone. So he's definitely a threat. Moving on. Wide receiver Jerry Jeudy, it's not working. It's not working. I really think him and Sanders really doesn't have that connection. Jeudy is really struggling from what he did last year. He had a career year last year, and the Browns do what the Browns do, and they paid him. They paid him, and ever since they paid him, he haven't done jack. So that's just typical Browns stuff. But I guess I guess you would say he is their number one outside threat. You see his numbers: 43 receptions, 531 yards, 12.3 average, 2 touchdowns. So this is probably the weakest part of the Browns offense, other than their offensive line. The offensive line is and got old, and their tackles are terrible. So the offensive line and the wide receivers are really their weak spots. And Steelers just got to take advantage of it. They got to take advantage of it and keep pressure on that line. If you were able to shut down Detroit's running game, you should do the same for the Browns. And also they receivers, you should basically hold those guys at nothing. And like I said, that's going to force Shador to hold the ball, make bad decisions, and the Steelers should be able to turn him over a few times in this game and definitely get some sacks. Moving over to the defense, let's talk about the man. I have to call him the man because he's the man. Defensive tackle Myles Garrett. You look at those numbers and know that's not a error with the 22 sacks. That's what he got, 22 sacks. He's looking to break the all-time sack record. I know more than anything he would love to do it. Yeah, obviously at home in front of the Cleveland Browns fans, but definitely against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and definitely sacking Aaron Rodgers. So he's gonna go all out. He's gonna go all out to try to get that done. So I hope the Steelers kind of game plan a little bit to maybe roll Rodgers out away from him. Make sure Rodgers, Rodgers got to know he can't hold on to the ball because you're not going to be able to hold him back too long. So Rodgers is going to have to get rid of the ball fast, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, 58 tackles, 22 sacks, 32 tackles for loss, 3 forced fumbles, 1 pass defense. I know a lot of Steeler fans don't like hearing this and don't like it, but yes, he's better than TJ Watt at this point. Surefire Hall of Famer. He's probably going to be the defensive player of the year. That's going to be his second one. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's going to be now. Would he ever win anything? Maybe not, especially if he's, end up ending his career in Cleveland. But, he's going to be like Joe Thomas. I mean, Joe Thomas, he stayed in Cleveland for his whole career and was a Hall of Famer. And Myles Garrett, I must say, is on that same course. So the Steelers has really just got to really game plan against him because he can wreck the game. He can, get strip sacks and all that type stuff. So he's a guy that they got to pay attention to and definitely do not let him beat you. Carson Switzinger. Now, just like we just talked about Myles Garrett probably getting defensive player of the year, this is probably going to be your defensive rookie of the year. And this is what I said. The Browns have really, I don't know if it was luck or what it was, but they knocked this last draft out the box. And they got some players that's going to make some major impact, for them. As you can see, his name is not Jack Campbell, but he has 147 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, 3 forced fumbles, 3 pass defense, and 2 interceptions. Huge year. And he's definitely going to be the defensive rookie of the year. He's still learning a little bit, but as far as getting in on the tackles, he's right there. So, like I said, the Browns really hit this. They hit this draft out the box, and couldn't believe it, but they did. And the last guy, safety Grant Delpit. Actually, I like this kid. I was hoping he could be a Steelers. Not having a major year, but you know, he's their kind of like their captain back there in the secondary. Denzel Ward is kind of doing his 1-2 and staying hurt. So you know, Delpit is kind of out there by itself, but you know, 71 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 4 pass defense, 1 interception, 1 fumble, 1 forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, and 1 sack. So again, he's having a great year. He's having a great year. And that defense, the Browns defense is for real. I mean, I think they're like number 2 in the league. So this is a game that the Steelers really can't take lightly as far as, you know, trying to win this game, because the Browns defense is not going to give up a lot. Now, you can run the ball on them for some odd reason. They just cannot stop the run. But overall, they play a solid, aggressive defense, and they have some decent players. So that's the ops, and that's just a little taste of what the Browns are bringing this Sunday. And like I say, this could be a game where the Steelers got everything wrapped up already, and if that's the case, we'll see how they handle, you know, with the guys, you know, with their players. Me personally, I like to see those guys play. I don't think that's a good deal for them to sit out for 2 weeks, you know, because definitely you could sit everybody in the Baltimore game. But with that said, we will see how it goes down. And until then, we will talk to you later. Make sure you like and subscribe. And that is the ops for the Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday. So until then, take care, and I will talk to you later. All right, bye-bye.